Welcome to the first day of spring in Vermont. You know, I really love living here, guys, but this time of year is brutal. I'm definitely ready for the weather to turn. So, I wanted to do a two for today. I worked the last couple of days, and I saw this chart last week, and I got really psyched up. And I wanted to discuss it with you guys. And then, of course, Cyprus happened. I got a couple of PMs asking me to discuss it. And, of course, it's worth talking about. That situation is very fluid and will be worthy of discussion for a long time. Before we do that, though, in my last video, I referenced the amount of money that Bernanke was printing. And MKM, I referenced it as $85 billion a day. It's $85 billion a month, okay? And MKM still stacking, thankfully, sent me a quick PM. I had that 85 billion number stuck in my head, and I mistakenly said it was by the day. The point still stands, though. It's a small amount of money relative to what we print, is the whole point of the thing. So, anyway, this is the chart I saw. This was on Silverdoctors. Okay, and it's gold and silver eagle sales, and it's the ratios. But I'm not interested in the ratios so much. I'm interested in this. If you look back to 1986, the Silver Eagle program has been alive for 27 years now. Okay, and you can see the sales growth. And all of a sudden, 2008, you see the numbers really start to spike up. We have literally sold, in the last 5 years, 50% of the Eagles that we've sold in the entire existence of the program. It took 5 years to sell what we did in 22. Not only that, January was a record month. There's never been a month in the history of Eagle sales that surpassed this past January. February was a record February, and March is on pace to set another record for March. That would be 3 months in a row of record-setting Eagle sales. So it really asks the question, what does the start of a movement look like? You know, if you watch Big Silver One's latest video, he goes over the future industrial uses of silver, and that is a great watch. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and it's fantastic. He's actually his video editing has gotten really, really good, and the visuals that he has there, I don't know. I was ready to go out and buy another couple rolls of silver after watching it. But if you look out into the future, you're going to see the mining numbers stay pretty much flat, maybe a slight upward trend. You're going to see the industrial uses flat, slight upward trend. Okay, those numbers are going to be... The big variable is investment demand. And that's why this is starting to get exciting. Okay, so American Eagle sales are probably going to set a record this year. Perth Mint sales. The Kookaburra, they're now making 1 million of them instead of 300,000. Chris Dwayne sales will end up, the Silver Bullet Silver Shield will end up in the millions. And I'm sure that's cannibalizing some of the American Eagle sales right there. You're starting to see the shift happen. And we know that a lot of stackers were the very definition of strong hands, right? I'm not selling my silver. I don't care what the price is. This is my retirement plan, or a big part of my retirement plan. This silver is not getting sold. So for all intents and purposes, it's off the market, short of some miracle happening. So I was thinking about it. So I pulled up a chart of internet penetration. Okay, this is starting in 1990. And I remember I became first aware around 96 or so. And, you know, the internet was a bit of a novelty. But look at the penetration. Look at the growth of the internet. Now even people that you never would have thought would even buy a computer have access to the internet. Why is this important? Well, look at the price of silver. Does that chart look familiar at all? You know, if you look at it from this point forward? What do the two have to do with each other? I'm not saying there's a direct correlation between internet penetration and the price of silver. Okay, and I know that you can't just go around making random correlations. Okay, The Miami Heat have won 23 straight games since I stopped drinking Diet Coke. Therefore, I stopped drinking Diet Coke and they win games. I get it. But think about it. Think about what brought you to silver. Did the internet play a role at all? Did the access to information that you get from the internet now play a role at all in silver? Does the ease of buying it via the internet play a role in getting silver? It does for me. I'll tell you flat out, if you think about the information that's available at your fingertips now because of the internet, and how much you can learn about precious metals, and let's face it, knowledge is power. What I love about the internet is I'm like soaking up the information as fast as I can get it. And I have control over what I look up. It used to be when I was a kid, you'd have to go to the library. If they didn't have the book, you'd have to dig out the microfilm and go through that for newspaper articles. It's all at your fingertips now. How is that not bullish for the future of silver? How is that not bullish for future investment demand? People can just sit at their desk now in their boxer briefs and click add to cart and have silver delivered to their doorstep. It wasn't like that 25 years ago. It wasn't like that pre-internet. Maybe they had coin catalogs that you could buy some bullion out of, or you could go to a coin shop or a coin show, but it really was difficult. Now you just click add to cart and it comes right to your house. I am very bullish on the future investment demand for silver. And I think this is the big variable that will end up pushing us forward. As more and more money floods into silver, as more and more distress is created around our monetary system. And the situation in Europe, hopefully this gets resolved without any pain. I'm watching this with great interest, guys. I just can't I'm still shaking my head in disbelief. But my point is, what does the start of a movement look like? And I think we're in it. And I think we can basically consider ourselves basically in the ground floor here. I don't think what you're going to see when you look at the silver chart is I don't think you're going to see that trip back down to $10 an ounce. I think we're forming a base here, and we're going to keep moving up as more and more people get connected and more people start buying silver. Tell me what you think.